Would I consider Bittensor's native cryptocurrency called TAO as a sleeping giant? Even though nothing I say is financial advice, I could see a situation where I do think that way because even though when it comes to TAO, maybe the idea of $3,000 is on my mind, I still like the fundamentals of Bittensor nonetheless, and let me explain why. And later on, I'm going to talk about the idea of maybe 3 grand, right? 3,000. However, if I take a look at Bittensor, it's allegedly a decentralized blockchain network acting as a peer-to-peer ecosystem for creating, training, sharing, and trading AI and machine learning models. Now, I think it's pretty cool because, for instance, it's supposedly a decentralized marketplace that brings together providers and consumers of machine learning algorithms and models. Now, I think this is pretty awesome because I think there's kind of two markets that are heavily focused on here. First, of course, AI, and then the second one is machine learning. Now, why do I like AI, beyond it just being very popular overall, right? When I take a look at the AI market, it is predicted to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030 according to Grandview Research. So I find that pretty impressive. And I think when I think about Bittensor, it's one of these, projects that I usually think about when it comes to projects within this space that are focused on AI. So it kind of has that sort of recognition there. But even besides that, machine learning, right? It's not like there's too many projects out there focused on that, but I do like it nonetheless when it comes to Bittensor, that aspect of it, I should say, because supposedly the global machine learning market is expected to be worth over $200 billion by 2029, according to Fortune Business Insights. Now, again, it's not necessarily something that is, predicted to be worth more than the AI market moving forward, but I still like that nonetheless. Now, when it comes to maybe the idea of TAO at 3,000, some people may be thinking, okay, how would it be considered a sleeping giant if it's only around a 9x from here at this point? Well, the way you take a look at it is that sure, TAO is not a microcap, right? But then it's not something that I would find too boring either because the market cap is not too incredibly massive. Like for instance, if Bitcoin went to 300 grand, that's less than a 3x from here. If Ethereum went to 10 grand, it's also less than a 3x from here, despite the pullback. So to me, even the idea of maybe like, let's say 1,500 when it comes to TAO, I still would even prefer that, just not speak on anyone's behalf, but just in my personal perspective, over Bitcoin and Ethereum over, let's say, the next 6 months. But this is just my mindset. Now, 3,000 at that point, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around 29.5 billion. Now, some people may be thinking like, okay, why do you even mention that? It's because back in 2021, we saw Dogecoin reach a market cap of over 80 billion. Now, when I take a look at something like that, that was years ago, and this doesn't seem like too ridiculous to me. Now, why would I even have that mindset? Back in the peak of the 2021 bull run, around 300 billion crypto owners. Now, supposedly, there's over 600 million, and this is supposedly more than ever before in history, and we haven't even seen, a fully fledged type of altcoin season, arguably yet during this cycle, in my opinion. And also, I don't think we've seen, maybe the ceiling of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, if Bitcoin went to 300 grand or Ethereum went to 10 grand, if there was, over 700 million crypto owners at that point, it really wouldn't surprise me, but only time will tell. So I just don't think that this market cap seems that ridiculous. But some people may be thinking, okay, what timeline are you even thinking about? Now, my mindset is this: even though, I can only take a look at some clues in the past, it doesn't necessarily guarantee what's going to happen moving forward, but at least I'm going to just take a look at it nonetheless. Like, for instance, altcoins usually, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak 18 months, give or take, after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, if I take a look at 18 months from the last Bitcoin halving event, it would actually mean October of this year because the last one happened in April of last year. Again, it may be different when it's going to happen this time around, if it ever even does. But to me, whenever it happens, if it ever even does, let's say November, December, or sometime next year in February or January or March or something like that, the only thing I can do is control myself. So I'm just going to stay patient, hold, dollar cost average, and that's it. Because I'm preparing for a moment in time it does something, as opposed to trying to find the perfect moment, which I don't think I'll ever find the perfect moment. So I'm just dollar cost averaging, holding, and that's it. It's just a waiting game. That's the way I take a look at it, at least personally in my situation. But again, that's pretty much it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Billy the Captain. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.